You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How we doing? How we doing? Indiana Fever. They failed tonight, but boy, it was not a disappointment, and I'll tell you why. I've seen a lot of basketball, and I cannot remember the time I seen a player have 24 points and 19 assists. Could have been 20, missed a couple chippies, but here nor there, I am overly joyed, overly satisfied. Caitlin Clark has not only met the expectations, has exceeded the expectations, and man, oh man, I mean, I'm just in shock. I mean, just exhausted. Let's get to it. Let's talk about it and let's see what happened tonight. Indiana Fever, they really just ran out of gas. I mean, you look at it. The Fever, the Wings were sitting there, 6-19 at home. I mean, the Fever have been just going at it. 101-93, we're going to hit with the final. Caitlin Clark, again, played the entire distance. Went out 40 minutes. Went in there and finished 10 for 19, 50% from the field. 2 of 9 from the three-point line. 2 of 3 free throws. Went in there and drug out 6 assists. Excuse me, that's the rebounds. 6 rebounds and 19 assists, folks. 19 assists to go along with 6 turnovers. And I've forgotten about the turnovers, and folks, here's the deal. I told you why. Okay, anytime you can run a 2-to-1 ratio and you're playing basketball, and that's what coaches want to see. I mean, you get some coaches are out there, they're screaming and yelling, look, hey, you got 6 assists and you got 4 turnovers. Okay, Caitlin Clark has 19 assists, 6 turnovers. Okay, that's beating the 2-to-1 ratio. That's almost taking it up to 3-to-1. It is really, because 18 assists would be 3. That's a 3-to-1 ratio. If Caitlin Clark averaged 6 turnovers for the remainder of the season and averaged 18 assists, nobody's going to be complaining. Now, when you look at it, it gets a little closer there, and you say to yourself, well, what else happened? Boston has just been outstanding. You talk about Aliyah Boston being a basketball player, coming in there going 28 minutes, 11 of 14, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, digging out 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 blocks. And I'm going to tell you, when you look at it, you look at everything, and you got Boston and Smith coming back with 12 rebounds, 5 of 12, finishing with 13. It's just a point of exhaustion. I mean, at some point, you're going to reach a point of exhaustion. And when you reach that point of exhaustion, you just got to know, you know what? Everybody's exhausted. Caitlin Clark's exhausted. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I was looking at the players if they was going up and down the court, and I was just kind of looking at it. I'm saying to myself, wow, she's just been going and going and going. And when you get a player that just keeps going, she plays 40 minutes, folks, there is no time off. There is no time off. Now, and I had to backtrack to that because, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Kate and I'm going, okay, what really happened? Iowa went 34-5. Okay, so that's 39 ball games there. Okay, and you got to look at the Fever started out 1-8. 1-8. I repeat, the Indiana Fever started out 1-8, and they bumped off of that, and they came back and went 10-7 before the break. Now, when you look at that, you look at 39. Caitlin Clark's playing 55 ball games, going to play the All-Star game, and you got to look at this collectively and say to yourself, you know what? That's a long basketball season. That's a long basketball season for anybody. And when you're just dead tired and people talk about the weights and anything like that, I'm blown away. You know what? I've seen a lot of basketball. I haven't seen a rookie come out and get 24 points, 19 assists in any league. I haven't seen that in the NBA. And you got to ask yourself, there was a huge trade that I would have wanted to see the Fever get this game tonight. There's been a huge trade. The Chicago made a trade. Okay, they picked up a couple nice players. They got another player. Jefferson's going to be able to shoot the 3. Mabry's moving on. Mabry was they said she requested a trade. And I looked at it. I watched the Sky last night, and I looked at Mabry. Mabry just looked out of place. I mean, she doesn't have the foot speed. So Chicago, what are they gaining? They're gaining, really, they said the player requested it, but they're winning the trade. I mean, the Sun, they're more traditional for Mabry. They're going to play a traditional style offense. They're going to play team defense. The Sky has scooped them up. So the Fever and the Sky are going to have to go down the stretch. And adding that extra guard, and you look at it, Mitchell, came on and is going to have to play. Everybody is tired. So I kind of got to just give it to the Fever for what they did as a turnaround before the break. You got to really ask yourself, okay? And when you look at Aliyah Boston and you look how Boston just ramped up, I mean, you talk about a full-on competitor. For the first time tonight, I've seen Boston get a little upset with officials. I don't see Boston lose a cool. Boston's like E.F. Hutton. Okay, when she speaks, you listen, because she doesn't go get the flapping or talking or anything like that. She's mainly a quiet person, measures her words. But tonight, she just told the official, look, you're way out of pocket, and you're not even calling this game. So you got two of the best. They took them on, and the Fever, I mean, they just played some good basketball, and they did what they had to do. Are they moving in the right direction? 100%. I mean, the Fever are there. I was waiting on the highlights to post. They haven't posted. But I will tell you this. I am very excited about the Fever. I do know for a fact that, when you get teams making trades, who knows? Sometimes it sparks a trade fever. And I don't know what with the way this team is playing, I mean, you got to ask yourself, what do we do? What do we do? I mean, because right now you got everything you need. You just got to have everybody come off and play. But the Fever have to come out 1-8 to turn that around, and the Fever be 11-15. They did a 10-7 after starting 1-8. They're 5-10. They went on the road. Okay, and you got to understand, they went against the Wings, who were really trailing behind the Fever. They're 6-19, 4-7 at home. Okay, Dallas opened up, and I thought the Fever was so gassed out. They opened up 27-20 in the first. They came out of there 27-26. Fever battled back. Indy won the third, 24-18, and just ran out of gas in the fourth. I mean, there's just no room to go. I mean, look at the Dallas Wings. Okay, you got Sims dropped 24. You go Goomba dropped another 24. So they were waiting, and you got to understand this about the Indiana Fever, and this is simple stuff. As the Fever go and play everybody, they're drawing a sellout crowd. What does that mean for the opposing? Every time the Fever play, they're going to get everybody's A game. They're going to get the best that they got to offer, and everybody's going to show up, and they want to perform against the Indiana Fever. Why? Because, one, they know they got a sellout crowd at home. Two, they know they got a national TV offense. They got millions of viewers watching. So this is a normal affair, but here where it caught me off guard, and I am just I just have to say it. I am very highly impressed with Caitlin Clark. I'm highly impressed with the maturity of Caitlin Clark. I'm highly impressed with the leadership of Caitlin Clark. I'm very impressed with what she had to go through the media, how she was able to go through, handle it, not complain, play night in and night out, and that is a franchise player that the Indiana Fever have. Now, here's what's going to happen. You get a lot of agents making phone calls, want to come play for the Fever. And I was on the phone tonight, a good young man, he's a good basketball player, Dan Johnson, had an opportunity to go and play with the Sixers, didn't quite make it, got up to an Exhibit 10, didn't get on the club. But I will tell you this, we had a discussion, and I said, would you go play for a point guard like Caitlin Clark? He says, I've never seen a point guard like Caitlin Clark that is making that many assists. And he's played with some great ones. And you got to look at the guys who play in the NBA, and I'll tell you this as we wrap up. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We are powered up by Fanatics. Folks, I'll end up, and I'll tell you this. There are NBA GMs who can take the film of Caitlin Clark, bring it into their facility. This is the NBA, not the WNBA, NBA, and break down the film and show the point guards and the rookie guards coming in and say, this is what I want from you. That is coming from a WNBA player, okay? That's the Women's National Basketball Association, has the best point guard, and there's only a couple rivals. There's a couple. I mean, if you get to Chris Paul, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, Chris Paul is the most efficient guard I ever seen in all his 20 years. Even when he went to Wake Forest, he was tremendously efficient there. But Caitlin Clark, come on, guys. Are there any records left? If there's any records left, please let's highlight them so Caitlin can go break them one by one by one. Because when you're dropping, I mean, if you can drop 25 points and 19 assists, or just say 24 and 19, I mean, who's going to come behind that? Okay, I mean, there will be a player because they got the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th graders are training now. They're getting Caitlin Clark training. But, folks, you're talking about a franchise player. I mean, there is no other franchise player that can walk through the building and do what Caitlin Clark has done. I mean, just a competitor. I mean, you're talking about fire. And I know you guys bring up Ernesto because I keep looking at this. And I haven't seen Ernesto do this. I know the Liberty are good. I know they beat the Liberty. I know they beat them. And I know they're going to beat some other teams. But here's the deal. They're going down the wire. And you know what? You can say what you want. And you know what? At the end of the day, I am satisfied I've seen Caitlin Clark play. Yeah, I am satisfied I've seen Caitlin Clark advance from Iowa and bring what she did in Iowa. They were wondering, okay, this is college. That won't work. That won't work. This is college. She's going against grown women. These are grown women. These are grown women. Folks, fix it. Get it fixed. NBA vets, get it fixed. Unless you're going to do something when you come back, you're just going to be in for another worse nightmare. And the nightmare is going to be worse than the nightmare you have. Because eventually, I'll tell you this, the legs will come back. Okay, she'll get rest, whatever she does. I don't know if she does knitting. I don't know if she does cooking. Like I said the other night, watch cartoons. She's going to get some R&R. She's going to work out. She's a workout junkie. She has to shoot. And you know what? It's going to get really good in the second half of the season. I like what they're doing. I like the trade that Chicago Sky made. I finally seen and I wanted it. I know the Aces are beatable. Everybody in this league, there's nobody. I will say this. There is nobody that the Indiana Fever can't beat. That's the question. Okay, you have to point out a team and show it to me that the Indiana Fever can't beat, standing there with a rookie and another rookie and coming behind that with Boston, who Boston is just flew off the charts. Okay, and you know what? I don't even know why Don Staley's coaching college. You got all of your players in the WNBA. Heck, you can come in here in 1 year and they'll all be trying to play for you. You know, but we got to hold our brakes on that. Don, stop, Don. We don't want that right now. All right, we don't want all the former South Carolina players want to come over. But I got a treat for you, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I want you to enjoy it. The treat's going down. It's called the WNBA All-Star against the Olympic team. However, I have compassion for the Olympian because there are injuries, they are beat up a little bit, and they do have to get on a very long flight. And, folks, if you ever flown international, I've never done it, but the reports I've got back, it's a long flight. I've got a lot of guys that went overseas, and they all say the same thing. It's a long flight. Now, if they charter them out, get them stretched out, get the training table set up in the middle of the aisle, you knows what you can do. A little turbulence, you might pop off the table. We don't want that, but it's going to be a great trip for them. I wish them nothing but the best, and I wish all the players that are coming to play in the WNBA All-Star, I'm looking for another great show. I am just highly impressed, and folks, you know what? My apologies, okay, because I've kind of come in and I've kind of watched the WNBA, and, you know, I speak my mind. But my apologies if I kind of overstep my bounds. I just get excited about good basketball. I don't care if you're red, green, white, red, or glue, or it doesn't matter to me. I mean, if you can put the ball in the hole, if you can make those type of passes, you can elevate a team as a rookie. Just imagine what you could do as a 3-year player. You're going to get better and better and better, and that's what Caitlin Clark is doing. And we got to be honest with ourselves and just say, hey, you know what? Every once in a while, one comes through and gets better. It's kind of like Luka. I mean, we didn't think now the Kings, Sacramento Kings, I'm in California, got the second pick. Okay, what do? They go draft another player. They take a player out of Duke. You got this kid over there in Europe. They're telling him everybody who's a EuroLeague MVP. No, he's not good enough. Okay, you take Bagley. You get another player. Where's Bagley playing with a new team? I think he's in Detroit. Okay, what did he do? You got Bloody Divac had the GM job. He's not the GM job no more. You can't be the GM if you don't draft. Okay, Luka. And I'm just thankful that the Fever, it landed. You got the lottery, and it's all working out. And it's all working out for the betterment of not just Caitlin Clark. This one's going to work out for the betterment of all the players because everybody has seen what Caitlin can do. Now we can come back in the second half, and let's just battle out and play good basketball. And that's what we're going to do because this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We enjoyed every minute of it. If you ask me, the Fever, they're dead tired. 101-93. The Wings get the victory. But nevertheless, Caitlin's going to get some rest. And, you know, when you get to Caitlin, here's what Caitlin loves right there. She loves the kids. She loves the fans. And I'm going to tell you what, I enjoyed every bit of Caitlin. And anytime I get a chance to see Caitlin play, I will stop, watch, and listen as the season goes on. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're Power Up by Fanatics, and we thank you. We love you. We enjoyed it. And we're going to take a little break and get back for the All-Star game, and then we're going to come back and finish the season. But this is the WNBA is fantastic. Great job to the WNBA, to the leadership, the staff, everything you've done, and getting everything just all set up. I am overly impressed. I will tell you, I have seen nothing better, and I can't wait till the second half of the season, just like all the other WNBA fans, when it gets back in return. We're going to get about a month of sabbatical. They're going to be gone until August 17th. R&R for the players, do something exciting, get their bodies back in shape, get treatment, and let's make the playoff run and see who's going to be the WNBA champion. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're powered up by Fanatics, and we always will tell you all things are possible to those who believe. You have a great evening, and we'll see you soon.